Hi there. As somebody with Ankylosing Spondylitis, or AS for short, I thought I'd talk to you about flare-ups. So flare-ups go hand in hand with having Ankylosing Spondylitis. Unfortunately, it's something that I've had to accept is now part of my day-to-day life. So what is a flare-up? Well, a flare-up is where some or all of your symptoms can suddenly become heightened. So for example, increased pain, increased stiffness, increased fatigue, increased brain fog, those sorts of things. And they can happen quite quickly. So the onset of a flare-up can happen in a very, very short time indeed. Quite often you're not ready for it, and it can be quite overwhelming when it does happen. For me, there are a few signs that a flare-up is on its way. For example, the first place that I notice increased pain in is my left hip or sacroiliac joint. So that seems to be my weak spot, and if I've got increased pain there, I know to start preparing myself as much as I possibly can for a potential onset or a flare-up. Once it hits my left sacroiliac joint, my spine then becomes quite stiff, and just to kind of illustrate what happens, there's a certain amount of stiffness you have in your spine anyway, or I have in my spine, and a certain amount of pain that I have in my sacroiliac joint already. It just becomes heightened and quite acute. So it's not that there's nothing at all for the rest of the time. If I was to score it, on a great day, I've still got 2 out of 10 pain. But when there's a flare-up, that's any number between obviously 2 and up to 10. So with the increased pain, there's difficulty in sleeping, for example. So your sleep patterns then go completely out of the window. You really struggle to get to sleep. The difficulties then staying asleep as well. For me, it will wake me up several times throughout the night. You have a completely broken night's sleep. Then the following day, you've got worse fatigue because of it. So it's a vicious circle, and the best thing to do is recognize it as soon as you can to try and keep it from being extremely bad. So they could be caused by any number of things. There can be things like certain foods that trigger it. There are certain starchy types of foods that can trigger flare-ups. Anything like stress or a trauma can trigger it off, or it can just be random. For no reason whatsoever, your body can just decide to attack itself, that's when it's the most difficult. That's when, for me, I'm completely unprepared for it, and it just makes it very, very difficult to fight it. In terms of fighting it or controlling it, there's no magic wand that you can wave to make it go away. I really struggle when there's a flare-up with, number one, you're not motivated to do anything because it hurts to do anything. Your body tells you, no, don't do that, whereas your brain is saying, no, you have to do that, otherwise your body's going to get even worse. So as far as I go, I can't take more medication during a flare-up than I would do normally because of other issues that I have going on. For example, epilepsy. So I take NSAIDs every day. So I can't up my dose during a flare-up because there's other things that it can then conflict with, other medications that it can conflict with. So for me, I have to try and find an exercise regime and that works during a flare-up, and step it up. So for example, I do certain stretches in the morning for about 30 to 45 minutes every single morning as soon as I get up. During a flare-up, I can't do that, just my body won't let me do that. So what I will do is bite-sized pieces. So instead of 30 to 45 minutes in a chunk, I will do 10 to 15 minutes, then have a break, and then an hour later 10 to 15 minutes again, then have a break, and then another hour later. Do that, and that happens not continuously throughout the day, but for a set few hours in the morning, probably a little patch in the afternoon just to keep me ticking over, and then towards the last thing at night. That helps with the physicality side of things and making sure that my body is moving as much as it possibly can. So the more it moves, the less the flare-up can be, in theory anyway. Sometimes it doesn't quite work like that, but that's the best you could hope for. With regards to things like stress and trauma, a trauma might be something completely out of the blue with no control over. It's going to happen. What can you do about it? You can deal with it, but it's something that you have to do after the event, which is not exactly great. If you're in a stressful environment, it's easy to say this: get out of the stressful environment or manage it as much as you can. If that is an ongoing stressful situation and you think you need help, get help. I just to throw this out there, I'm not a medical professional. These aren't opinions of a medical professional or anything, but being in that boat at a few points in my life, seek help. Talk to somebody. There are phone numbers that you can call, there are websites that you can visit, there are all sorts of professionals that can help out in from the mental health side of things. As far as mental health goes, there is a very, very strong link between people who have frequent flare-ups and those that suffer with severe depression. They go hand in hand. So it's very important to recognize that where you can and get help. It's as simple as that. From a medical point of view, if your medication is not working for you, obviously talk to your rheumatologist or your doctor, and they can help out. I know in the UK we have the NHS, so getting to see the rheumatologist might be a little bit slower, but you've got your GP to talk to at any point to help out. In terms of the flare-up as a whole, the best way is not to try and fight it head on, but work with it, manage it. See what you can do with exercising, hydrotherapy, walking, getting out and walking around. Fresh air is a really, really, it's the simplest thing, but it really is quite important. The worst thing you can do during a flare-up, and your body will tell you to do this as soon as you're in one, is to lie down on the sofa and just veg out. That's the worst thing you can do. Staying still in one place is a non-starter. For me, I have to be up and about. My body tells me, don't do it, it hurts. I know in my mind that I should be doing the exercising, and quite often it's easier said than done, but it's something that is very important to take on board. So with that, I hope this information has been useful. If it has, then great. If you want to see any other videos, leave any suggestions in the comments below. Other than that, I'll see you next time.